Shout out to our sponsor, Diff Eyewear. You can have serious style without a serious price tag. Diff Eyewear offers handmade sunglasses constructed from high-end materials for those days when your present is so bright you gotta wear shades. And you can get 15% off your first purchase when you go to diffeyewear.com/no. Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins. Just in time for Thanksgiving, Steam has kicked off its autumn sale because it's more fun to spend your money on tons of games you won't play to fill out your library on the cheap than it is to use that money on gifts for other people, because other people suck. As of yesterday, Steam is discounting tons of games for the next week with the sale ending at 10 a.m. Pacific time on November 29th. Since hype on sales has cooled a little bit since Valve did away with flash sales and such, they're doing something new this year: nominations for the Steam Awards. Beyond what you can buy, you can also nominate games across different categories, and some of those categories are, well, unique to these awards, like the Best Use of a Farm Animal Award or the Villain Most in Need of a Hug Award. Nominations will close when the autumn sale ends, and then finalists can be voted on in December during the Steam Winter Sale, which we all already knew was coming as well. And please make sure to vote, otherwise all the awards are going to go to Dota 2 and CSGO, since those are the only two games anyone seems to play on Steam anyway. Seriously, they're always right there at the top. There are a lot of unique marketing gimmicks out there, like the Galgun Collector's Edition that comes with a panty-shaped screen cleaner, or Ubisoft's Nauseous Rift experience to promote South Park: The Fractured Butthole. But Outlast 2 may be the new king of the hill, with a Kickstarter campaign for Underscares, the Outlast 2 companion diaper, because when you're scared, number 2 can become problem number 1. According to the Kickstarter, this is a real project inspired by Outlast to create a diaper prototype so gamers can shit themselves in terror while playing the game. It even has 3 different tiers: DIY, which no one should invest in, by the way, Basic, and Deluxe. And the Deluxe versions, they come with string holders, by the way. And they swear this isn't because they need more money to finish the game. In the FAQ, Red Barrels notes that the game has been entirely funded by sales of Outlast and Outlast Whistleblower, and that Underscares is its own thing. Still, there is a decent chance that this one won't make it past the campaign phase, since with 15 days to go, they've only collected $9,500 of their $29,774 goal. Also just kind of a weird goal. Last week, we reported that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was going to miss the launch of Nintendo Switch in March. That is looking more likely now, as we may have a leaked date thanks to retailer Target's online store. Target's listing for the Wii U version of the game has added a new date for June 13th of next year, which is a bummer for anyone who was hoping it would make the first quarter. Additionally, Switch leaker extraordinaire Laura Dale is reporting that Nintendo is aiming for a June 16th date for the Switch version in the UK, with the Wii U version lagging just a little bit for June 23rd. So, not looking good for March. Keep hope alive though, because until Nintendo announces it, there's still a chance. Earlier this year, some of Nintendo of Europe's websites hinted at a March 2017 release date for Breath of the Wild Amiibo, indicating the game would launch at that same time. But that was before word of the slip to June. Allegedly, the reason for the delay is down to localization, which looks to be taking extra time due to the game's ambitious scope. We may not be entirely bereft of open-world adventures at Switch's launch, though. In spite of Bethesda's denial of any specific games coming to Nintendo Switch, Skyrim director Todd Howard has all but confirmed the game for Nintendo's new system to Glixel. He mentioned that the console prototype was actually at E3 this year and said, "I love it, I got to play it. I will tell you," well, maybe that's an NDA thing, "one of the best demos I've ever seen, probably the best demo I've ever seen at E3. He continued, "I think it's really smart what they're doing. We're definitely going to be supporting it. It's the first time we've done something on Nintendo, if you don't count the old NES stuff." But the kicker, the real kicker, is this. When asked if you could easily actually bring Skyrim on the go, he said, "It's the same game on the TV and on the other screen." Oh, just stop playing coy, Bethesda. Why not just announce it? Are you trying to move copies of the special edition through the holiday? Because I gotta tell you, you're already doing that just fine. There are times it's better to keep your mouth shut, though, as Microsoft learned in an embarrassing little oops, in which a promotional email for Dead Rising 4 contained the subject, well, it's better when you read it out. It's a bunch of NNNN, GGGG, HHHH, AAAA, and when you look at that all at once, now you read it in a zombie voice, and you're golden. But you look at it without knowing what the deal is, and some people got the impression that it was more of a racial slur. Whoops. First off, no one includes A's in their zombie impressions. Get with it, Microsoft. That said, while stupid, it was clearly not intended to be malicious, and Microsoft immediately owned up to it. Larry Herb, aka Major Nelson, tweeted the same day that today we sent a Dead Rising 4 email where a zombie roar was interpreted by many as a racial slur. We apologize and promise to do better next time. And really, that's all you can do. If you're coming up for air from Pokemon Sun and Moon, you're just in time to dive back into Pokemon Go, because it may finally be fixed, as it were, and updates are on the way. Tracking, the feature that lets you find Pokemon to catch in the first place, the feature that went from functional but unstable to non-functional 3 steps to disappearing entirely and took the active Pokemon Go player base with it, well, it's back. Niantic has reintroduced a functional tracker. Actually, it's better than it was originally for Pokemon hunters. Now you can also see the Pokestop closest to the Pokemon on your radar, and then you choose a Pokemon and you can track it on the map. In addition to that, though, the long-awaited Ditto has made its appearance in the game. Ditto, for the uninitiated, is a Pokemon that can disguise itself as any other Pokemon. In fact, you won't know you've caught one until you trap whatever Pokemon you thought you caught, and it turns out, nope, it was a Ditto in disguise. You may actually want to consider catching Pidgeys and Rattatas again, just in case. Add that to Niantic's Thanksgiving event that's offering double experience points and Stardust, and you may actually have something to do instead of shopping over the long weekend. Maybe those Gen 2 Pokemon that were uncovered in a data mine recently only far off as Christmas? We'll see. Either way, it's apparently cheaper than Pokemon cards. At a Beverly Hills auction this month, a Pokemon Illustrator card just went for $54,970, setting a new record for the Pokemon card prices. That's a pretty huge jump over the same card going for around $23,000 in the early aughts. Ain't inflation a bitch. The thing is, this card is really, really rare. The Pokemon Illustrator card was a prize for a Koro comic illustration contest in 1998, and no more than 39 cards were ever awarded. Of those, 10 have been graded to be in top condition, as this new record setter was. It's unknown how many even exist, but you just know that one of those is under a bed or in a storage box somewhere, and the owner has no idea what they're sitting on. According to the press release about the auction, this one was offered up for sale in the wake of Pokemon Go's popularity, which drove up Pokemon card values in general. Has Ubisoft seen the error of its ways with DLC you've got to buy if you want a game's full experience? Maybe? Judging by a new interview with Ubisoft VP of Live Operations Anne Blondell-Jouin, the company now wants to switch its DLC model to something more like Rainbow Six Siege, a game where they gave away the major post-launch content for free. Speaking with GamesIndustry.biz, the VP said, "No more DLC that you have to buy if you want to have the full experience. You have the game, and if you want to expand it, depending on how you want to experience the game, you're free to buy it or not." The interview also indicates that Ubisoft plans on supporting its multiplayer titles for as long as 5 to 10 years with this type of content. Now, those certainly sound like things Ubisoft should be saying, although some of their current and upcoming titles may not necessarily reflect this. Steep, for instance, includes 4 winter sports at the game's launch, but its 3 DLC packs will be adding more sports to that list. So, what the fuck, Ubisoft? Come on, get it straight. Sadly, superhero lovers, you can retire all those hopes you had of seeing the X-Men or Fantastic Four, especially the Fantastic Four, which I know everyone really wanted to see, making their way to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least for the near future. Despite a number of recent rumors that Fox and Marvel may be gearing up for a potential partnership similar to Sony's arrangement with Marvel over Spider-Man, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has finally killed all of our dreams. Feige shot down the possible crossovers in an interview with Variety, saying, "It's an impossibility at this juncture. We certainly have enough films to keep us busy for a number of lifetimes." Well, that's true. Feige also spoke about whether or not Marvel might have to recast its biggest actors in the upcoming years, namely Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans, who have been pretty open in the past about moving on from the franchise at some point. To that, Feige admitted that other franchises like Bond, Sherlock Holmes, and Batman have shown there's a precedent for that, but admitted, right now, I don't want to think about it and don't need to think about it. So that about does it for our Turkey Day wrap-up. Let us know what you think of all these stories down in the comments, and as always, for more news from every corner of the internet, like this video and subscribe to The Know. Thanks to Diff Eyewear for sponsoring this update. Be good, buy smart, be Diff. Diff offers handmade sunglasses made from high-end materials without the high-end price. Instead, sunglasses start at $50, and for every pair sold to keep you looking good, they donate a pair of reading glasses for those in need, so you can look good and feel good. Plus, you can get 15% off your first pair of sunglasses by going to diffeyewear.com/know. Cell 5. Now I look cool, huh? I went from being like, yeah, what else, to being like, I look cool.